Hey there, everybody. Rev Kev, pray you're having a great day today. It has been a crazy month for me. I've barely been able to think about YouTube and content for my channel. My son and I, we've been talking about getting up and running on new uh, albums, reactions, and different things like that that we wanted to get going on, and uh, and we just haven't gotten around to any of that yet because December is a crazy month for all of us as a family. I mean, I've got a son in college, a daughter in university, and so December is a huge time for them. And also for me in my work as a pastor of a church, this is our end of year. So all of our end of year giving and end of year finances, we have this is the time of year when we do learn about a lot of people in need, and we try to come alongside them and support them financially and help out with that. And it's also the time when we close up all our books and do all the business side of a nonprofit charitable organization that's got to be done as well. So it's been busy, very busy. But so is everybody else, right? I'm not the only one who's busy. So we're all living in that kind of busy mode. So since I haven't been on here in a long time, I just wanted to pop on during my tea break today. I'm drinking a very yummy. This is one I don't normally drink a lot. It's a peach ginger. I think it is peach and ginger tea. And I really like this one a lot as I've been cutting down my coffee intake. So it's been pretty important for me to try to keep on drinking that herbal tea to help me keep me a little bit calmer throughout the day. So I changed things up a little bit here in my geek corner. You see, I've taken down my Funko Pop collection. It was a fun little collection to do for a time. I was doing that to kind of help reinvigorate my love for Star Wars, and so it was really cool doing that for a little while. And hey, Stig, thanks for popping by, my friend. It's great to see you, and I hope you are keeping really well as well. And yeah, as I've been updating here, yeah, that's a nice looking bookcase. So this is my Star Wars Expanded Universe collection. 9 more, not 8 more. 8 more until I complete the entire collection of Expanded Universe books. And then I think I counted them. I have 6 books that have the Legends banner that can be replaced. And so I'm looking to replace those after I get everything. Once I get the collection complete, then I'll look at going back and getting those ones. And then the other thing I just started doing, I don't know if I'm going to get into this, but I just started finding some of the Young Jedi Knight books. A buddy reached out to me and told me he had some and sold them to me pretty cheap. So, ooh, that's a cool thing. Started collecting Dragonlance. That's awesome. Dragonlance, the first 6 books, Dragonlance Legends, and what was the first series called? Dragonlance Chronicles. Those were 6 of my favorite books ever written. I don't know if this is blasphemous to say this, but I actually like Time of the Twins, like the Dragonlance Legends series, the 3 books there. I actually like that better than Lord of the Rings. Oh, I know it's a horrible thing to say that like that, but it's really the case. It's really true. I have another bookshelf upstairs in a little sitting area that we have, and on that bookshelf is where I started putting my old Dragonlance books. I got the first book from the Willow sequel series that George Lucas wrote with Chris Claremont, and that's where I put all the Indiana Jones books that I found at a thrift store. I got 6 of the Indiana Jones novels; those are up there as well. So this one here, this is just purely Star Wars, just expanded universe. I do have some Disney Star Wars novels. They're on another bookshelf over there in the other part of the room underneath my fish tank. So I got stashes of books all over the house. My my wife has kind of said, "You're kind of taking over the whole house. I was supposed to have a corner, and I'm starting to go all the way." So yeah. What's Stig say? I have the Dragonlance Legends on the way in the mail. Yeah, I still have the originals. I have the original ones that I bought when those first came out. Oh my goodness, when was that in the 80s when those first came out? And so, um, and then I bought new versions of them as well. So I got kind of the updated cover ones as well. And what are you saying? Indiana Jones, 14 books. Yeah, there's those, and I don't know if you ever saw these ones. There's also the Indiana Jones Choose Your Own Adventure books. I used to have those, and those were some of the books that I lost in that basement flood that I had about 15, 20 years ago. It's about 15 years ago when I had that basement flood. And oh, you play Indiana Jones's nephew in these books, and for some reason Indiana Jones lets you make all the decisions. And so they're just these great books. And which reminds me, I've not posted pictures about this, but they're over on my other bookshelf, so I can't get them right now. But I found, again at the thrift store, these Star Wars Choose Your Own Adventure books that I had never heard of before. So I just got those, and again, they were like $3, and I was like, I've got to get this. I've never heard of these before, and one of them even has like a holographic cover on it, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to go and check that out after I have it over there with all where I keep all my kids' Star Wars books on that other shelf. So yeah, so that's my collection. This was my pandemic hobby. So before the pandemic started in March of 2020, I had two or three expanded universe novels. Had never really read the expanded universe books. I didn't like reading when a lot of these books came out, which is funny considering how much reading I do for a living. But back then I didn't like to read, so I never bought any of these. So I had a few, and a few of them did get lost in that basement flood. And so this has just been my little project of love to keep me happy and content during a worldwide pandemic. So, oh, that's very cool too. Almost have all the Star Wars D20 RPG books. I try to track down the few I'm missing. Those are cool. The D20 ones. I had the D6 ones, the West End game books. Again, lost all of that in the basement flood. The only thing I still have left from that is the Star Warriors box game. It was like basically a flight simulator, like Star Wars X-Wing game that I used to play. So yeah, you were picky. You only read one book. Exactly. Very, very, very picky. I picked one book. Actually, that's a video for a whole other time. I didn't even read that book back then either. I only started believing in God in my mid 20s. So that's a whole other story. But anyways, yeah, so it's just great to be back and to get caught up. I've a lot of the YouTube channels that I subscribe to, I haven't even been watching those. So for the last couple of days, as things have been slowing down a little bit, I've been trying to get caught up on some of my favorite YouTube channels, and just try to get caught up a little bit what's going on in people's lives and on people's channels. So that's been a lot of fun. And obviously, we're coming up to Christmas season. So this is kind of my last big week of work. And then we have our Christmas service that's happening on the 24th in the evening. And then I'm going to be off on 2 weeks of vacation. I could jump on some. Sure. You know what? Why don't I could do that? I could send you the link. If I copy this to this, and if I go over to here, let me just send this to you here, Stig. We can hang out and chat for a little bit. I think I'm doing this right. I barely use any of these things. All these, I usually go on other people's streams. I've never really hosted much streaming on my own channel with people. One of these days, I should get into that more. There we go. So, and then I should see you pop into the waiting room at some point. So yeah. So we got Christmas Eve coming up, and kind of excited because just excited to be on vacation for a couple of weeks. So that's looking forward to that time with the family, just to relax a little bit, try to recharge a little bit as well, and yeah, get a much needed break. Cool. And so here, let me bring on Stig Kenobi to join us for a little bit as well. Hey, how
Hi,
you doing?
I'm doing quite well. I'm trying to pass time until a stream later tonight.
Oh, okay. Well, glad to kill
Yeah,
time with you.
yeah. Trying to stay awake at the same time because it starts at
Well,
2 a.m. my time, right?
that's what I kind of figured. It must be still pretty late that your neck of the woods right now, right?
It's 12 minutes past 9,
Okay, okay, that's not
so
too bad.
it's not yeah it's not so bad yet. I'm
Yeah.
gonna wrap the Christmas presents
Oh, very
later as
cool.
well.
Nice. Yeah, I have another meeting at 5 o'clock my time with a guy from the UK.
Hmm.
So it's 10 p.m. his time when we meet in a couple of hours.
Yeah, they're the
So
UK is 1 hour behind me.
okay. Yeah. So yeah, it's just one time zone over.
Yeah, it's kind of tricky for me to keep track of all that for
Right.
YouTube stuff
Oh,
because
for
there's like
sure.
three or four time zones in the US.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
So
Yeah, I think we've got four. Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
and people are like, "Yeah, it starts at 5 o'clock," and I'm like,
Uh-huh.
"Which 5 o'clock?"
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. You
Yep.
got to have like a really cool spreadsheet just to kind of keep track of it all. And
Yeah, I need
that's
to name
pr-
people. You know, Miss Martin Muses. You know,
right.
7
Yeah.
hours.
Which time zone they're in and all of that. So,
Yeah. Oh, that
uh,
there is a bot.
is that what that is, eh?
Don't yeah, they've been popping up in every streams lately.
Really? Because I've never seen some of these before. Yeah. That's interesting. So is Christmas big in your neck of the woods?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
absolutely it is.
Yeah. Just, yeah.
There's been Christmas stuff in the stores for I guess about a month now.
Okay.
Back when I grew up, though, they didn't do it until 2 weeks before Christmas. But now it's
Right.
it's big business.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that was like that here too. Like I never saw anything until a couple of weeks beforehand.
Yeah,
But now it's basically here. It's right after Halloween. It's out.
I think when they start basically kind of celebrating Christmas too early,
Right.
you kind of risk being tired of Christmas before it happens.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It's real easy. Like we have radio stations here in my neck of the woods that start playing 100% Christmas music as of first or second week of November, right after Remembrance Day. So November the 11th is when we
Oh,
celebrate Remembrance Day here. So right after that, so November the 12th, I think
a,
they just start playing
a
Christmas
little bit
music
too early.
nonstop. Yeah, and I'm a sucker for Christmas music. I really, really like Christmas music. So, uh,
Yeah, I like Christmas movie too, but for 3 weeks,
right.
you know,
Uh
um,
huh.
it's part of the maybe it has to do maybe it's nostalgia because when I grew up, I just
Right.
associate Christmas with that short period and
Sure. Yep.
hoping for this and that present.
Exactly. Yeah, because anticipating and waiting for like a month and a half for the gift you want,
Yeah,
that's rough.
and then you get socks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
which
Yeah.
what kind of stuff did you want for Christmas when you were a kid?
Oh my goodness, it was Star Wars and nothing but Star Wars.
Oh,
And I remember when there was one Christmas, probably one of the years where, you know, times were a tough for my parents. And so instead of getting me Star Wars gifts, they got me these kind of cheap science fiction knockoff toys.
yeah.
thinking that would be kind of the same thing. And it was like
Yeah,
it was
it
like the end of the
wasn't.
world. It was the end of the
Well,
world.
well,
Like,
if the action figures were of the same size, though, you could use them as background characters, right?
so they were, and so one of them was kind of like this little space shuttle. It almost looked like a thermos, and it had a little door that opened with a little moon rover car that would come out, and an astronaut would sit in the top, and you could put Star Wars figures on that moon rover, and you could like fill that whole thing up with Star Wars figures.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool, but no, it was. And even one year too, my parents, they got me all the Buck Rogers figures.
Oh, those I've never seen.
Yeah, like from the old Gil Gerard TV show.
I had
And
a Buck Rogers role-playing game on the PC.
okay,
I think it used the
yep.
same engine as the Dragonlance games.
Well,
The Kryn ones.
yeah. Well, it was done by TSR Games,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah.
SSI, which
Mhm.
had the license to TSR, I believe.
That's it. Yeah, SSI. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I had that as well too. Now that's a flashback.
Yeah, I kind of enjoy playing those because they had to save disk space, so
Right.
they put a lot of the text in the manuals. So when you
Oh,
got to like an important story part, it just said, read page 200 in the manual.
right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I forgot about that. There were a lot of the books like that.
Which was technically, you could get through the story by just reading manual.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
It would spoil the ending, wouldn't it?
Of course. Yeah.
So I read the manual, I beat the game.
Yeah, but just a genius way to deal with those little tiny, the little floppy disks that we had back in the day.
Yeah, I mean,
trying to put a game on there.
They took, what was it, 1.4 megabytes per disk,
right?
So text takes place. I mean, look at a text file nowadays, right?
Right. Oh yeah,
you could easily fill I don't know, half a megabyte by not writing too much.
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness, absolutely. Well, that's where I've just been kind of mesmerized. My son has a Nintendo Switch that he bought. He paid for it. He buys all the games, but he never plays it. So I get kind of the benefit of playing it. And so I was playing the Legend of Zelda game on that. And the Twitch games come on these little tiny little cartridges that look like just little memories, sticks type of things. And you pop it in there. And the quality of the game, and it's all music, all voice, like no reading. It's just like, how do they fit all of that? Because I'm thinking, again, all these old SSI, TSR games where it was like, man, if you had a game, I remember Wing Commander at one point had like 4 discs or something, or 6 discs, something crazy.
Yeah, 6 CDs.
Yeah.
Which were, that was one of the first games to use, they're called FMV, full motion video.
Right.
So yeah, it happened with the CD-ROM, because usually back then you'd have a hard drive that was like 120 megabytes,
right? Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden you have the CD-ROM, which could take 600.
That's right.
So it just changed everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it just opened up a whole new world, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and you can tell how they were kind of a little bit floundering around in the dark when it came to that, because all of a sudden they had this huge updated sandbox to play in,
Right.
It was like 50 times the size, and then how do we do this, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And that was cool, because that's when they started bringing in all like the famous actors. Like I remember when they had, was it Mark Hamill was on the old Wing Commander?
Oh yeah, game? And Biff from Back to the Future.
That's right, Biff from Back to the Future. Yeah.
John Rhys Davis was in it.
Yeah, like that was
Malcolm McDowell.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we're playing that on a game at home with like these big name actors. So it's like that was just a whole new thing.
One of the Star Wars games was purely made on that too. It was Rebel Assault.
Right.
That was just it was a little bit like an advanced what's it called, Space Ace, or Dragon's Lair. but
Right.
with live action stuff, because you basically had to just memorize the levels and do them in order.
Uh-huh.
There are two bots in the
2
chat.
bots in the chat. So I don't know which ones are the bots, but
Oh,
thanks for everyone else showing up. I appreciate you guys being here. Oh, probably this one here. That's
Russian.
yeah. Am I supposed to boot these out? Is that what you're supposed to do?
Block
Block them?
them. Yeah.
Block them. Oh, look at that feature. That block. Again, I don't use this all that much, so I gotta. It's kind of in my New Year's resolution is I gotta get better at using this stuff and get a little bit more consistent on some of the stuff that I want to be putting out on here. There we go.
Yeah, there was one
Yeah.
that popped into a chat earlier today, and someone on the I think it was Fat Steven Seagal on the panel said, "Yeah, there's porn bots in the chat," and I was like,
Oh, really?
I just commented, I know Lorena's good looking, but don't call her a porn bot.
That's right. Yeah, that could be a little awkward.
Yeah.
So
what are you reading now?
So I'm still trying to finish off the book there that we're reading for OG Star Wars' website there, YouTube page.
Deceived.
So I'm about 3/4 of the way through that one. But December for me is nuts. Like it's just busy. And usually by the time I go to bed, I'm just wrecked. And so I've got the book on my nightstand beside me. I've got like 2 or 3 books on the nightstand, and I don't even look at them. I just go to sleep.
Including graphic novels and audiobooks.
Right.
I'm up to 80 books this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Good for you.
A few of them though,
That's
I
awesome.
had started the year before, so I just finished them this year.
Right.
But yeah, it's ridiculous. I've read too much.
Okay. Well, I don't think you can ever read too much. Reading's a great habit to have.
Yeah, and for the most part, I have read kind of thin books.
Right.
So
yeah.
As soon as you start reading a brick, you tend to spend more time because the ending is too far away. So it's kind of like uphill. But if you're as soon as I pass the halfway mark on a Star Wars book or whatever, I just push through the second half really fast.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Well, and it's interesting with that, like I'm reading Deceived. And it's the first time I've ever read we read the one other book from the Knights of the Old Republic. So this is the second one that we're doing. It just messes me up because all the language is very similar to like prequel language.
Yeah.
Right. Because everything's happening at Coruscant. You have the Empire, you have the Republic. The Empire has won. They destroy the Jedi Temple, and you're just kind of like, wait, what?
Yeah, they are very reliant on the reader having played through the video games.
Okay, interesting. Because I've never done that.
Yeah, that's
I haven't played those. Yeah.
Yeah, if you haven't, play them on the PC actually, because the second one on consoles is not finished.
Okay.
Because they rushed it out the door for Christmas.
Right.
So they left out a whole planet, and there's a lot of dead ends in the story stuff.
Okay.
But for the PC though, the developers in their spare time made kind of like a patch.
Okay.
That restores all the cut content.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah. But you can only get that on the PC.
Okay. Well, and I do have it. My son actually had the game. He bought. He has an account on Steam, so he plays a lot of his video games on that. And so there was a sale for a bunch of the old Star Wars games, and he just bought it. And he's never played any of them, and I just found that out. When did about 3 weeks ago, he told me this, and so I was like, oh, so I've installed it now on my computer, but it's like. Yeah, and until my vacation starts December 25th. So until my vacation kicks in.
Oh, I think you'd really love the first Old Republic game because it's a role playing game. It's all about the character skills, not your muscle memory, basically. And you get
Right.
all these moral choices, and
Okay.
this and that can give you a dark side point. And the thing is, though, if you get a full dark side point score,
Right.
you get benefits.
Okay.
Some of your stats increase and all that. It's the same with if you go full light side.
Right. Sure. Yeah. No,
I think
that's
your
really cool.
face starts changing too if you go too far to the dark. Because I remember one of my characters got his vein in his forehead started showing, and I'm like, I
Okay.
I think the rest of the crew should be getting suspicious by now.
That's right. Yeah. When you got the big angry vein popping up and yellow
Yep.
eyes and your
Yep.
skin starts turning pale, it's kind of a warning sign right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are
Yeah.
fun. I buy my old games on GOG,
Okay.
which
Right.
is good old games. That's what
Right.
it's called. Run by the people who made the Witcher games.
Okay.
So it's basically you buy an old game and you
Hmm.
own it. You don't have to
Okay.
install a client to run it or anything. No copy protection.
Okay. And is
Um,
there like a subscription? Like once you cancel your subscription, you lose the game, or once you buy it,
no,
it's
no, no.
yours?
If you buy it, it's on your account,
Okay.
and you can download it to as many computers as you want.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and there's scanned manuals, maps, what have you.
Hmm.
Sometimes the soundtrack is included in MP3 format,
Okay. Right.
and I have uh, it's. I think I started my account in 2014, and due to all the sales and stuff, because I'm
Right.
like, oh, there's like a Black Friday sale. I should buy games for winter, right? So I
Of
buy like
course.
30 of them
Right.
because they're so cheap, and I think I have 400 games now. It's
Holy
ridiculous.
smokes. That's crazy.
Yeah, I do play them though, so it's not just I
Yeah.
buy them just to have it, but they have all the SSI games and
Yeah. Well, when I saw you posted that picture on Twitter of those Dragonlance games, that brought some big time memories back because I used to play all those. Man, probably when did those come out? What year did those come out? Do you remember?
late 80s, early 90s, because
Later. Yeah.
they kept pouring them out. A lot of Forgotten Realms games as well.
Right. Yeah. So I was either in my last year of high school or first year of college when those came out. And my parents had just bought like this crazy, home computer, which, and no one had home computers, like, or not many
No.
people had them back then. And so the fact that my parents bought one, it was just like, oh, like this is incredible. And so, and I spent many, many, many hours playing those games instead of doing homework.
Oh, games really affected my homework back in those days. Absolutely, because well, I've been watching this. It's a documentary on YouTube
Okay.
made by a guy from Romania.
Okay.
It's called "This Year in Gaming" or something,
Right.
and he did one episode per year that there has been a video game,
Oh, wow.
and he talks
Mhm.
about what happened in the world during that year
Okay.
as well, general news.
Oh,
So you
very
can
cool.
see how the rest of the world
Hmm.
affected the gaming industry. Because after
Interesting.
9/11, you got a lot of shooter games
Right.
right
Yeah.
afterwards, and quite often after some disaster, you'd
Hmm.
get city building games.
Okay.
So that
Interesting.
was and basically what happened though was that there's like a couple of I guess some hot spots that changed everything.
Hmm.
The first was when home computers became a thing,
Right.
because then everything blew up, and then you had the CD-ROM,
Hmm.
then you had
Yep.
the 3D graphics cards,
Right.
then internet. Everyone had internet access, and then the last one I think was cell phones.
Hmm.
So I thought it was great. I mean, that guy should have 1 million subs, but he doesn't.
Okay. Interesting.
And then he would, at the end of each episode, he would pick a game that kind of uh, represented that year the
Okay.
most.
Yep.
So that was pretty cool. I like
That
stuff
is
like
cool.
that.
Yeah. What's it called again? I'm just gonna write it down so I can.
Oh, I can send you a link on Twitter.
Okay. Yeah.
It,
Please do. That'd be amazing. I'd love to
it
check that
starts
out.
in '68. I did not know they had a video game back then, but it was one they did
Wow.
by mistake.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Hmm.
they realized, hey, we can control that dot on the screen.
Right.
So
Interesting.
that which later got, I guess, that probably inspired Pong.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, just bouncing the ball back and forth, right? And
Yep, that's all it
yeah,
took.
yeah. Remember playing some of those crazy games on the old Atari 2600 at a friend of mine's house growing up, and I was like, "This is the most mind blowing, incredible thing piece of technology you've ever seen. It'll never ever get any better than this."
Yeah, yeah. I remember thinking several times that they're not going to top this,
How
and
could they
then
ever top this? Yeah, yeah.
then you have
And
the
now,
stuff now that the Red Dead Redemption 2. It's probably the most gorgeous game I've ever seen.
okay, I've never played that one.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
okay,
You get to play not a cowboy, as an outlaw, really.
right, yeah, yeah. Now this past year, because we got for Christmas last year, we got the the PSVR,
Oh yeah,
so the virtual reality for the headset for the PlayStation, and man, and that piece of tech is like 4 years old already, and it's
yeah, it probably
crazy.
is.
It's
You,
crazy how amazing it is.
you know what's funny about that though? 20
What's
years
that?
earlier, everyone was saying, "Yeah, you shouldn't sit so close to the screen."
Yeah, exactly. Now we have one literally an inch from our eyes.
Yep. So I don't think anyone listened. You know.
No, exactly. Uh, but they had the one that they were kind of like more adventures than games. Like there was gameplay to it, but it was the Vader Immortal. Like honestly, for me, that Vader Immortal is probably the only amazing thing that's come out during the Disney Star Wars era, because that's just been like that was mind-blowingly cool.
I have played Star Wars Battlefront 2. I got it for Christmas for the
Right.
Xbox.
Uh-huh.
So I played through the story on that one, which was not much of a story actually. It
No,
was
it's pretty
clearly
short.
just it was like they had it there just to have it, but it's
Yeah.
basically a multiplayer game.
Oh,
That's
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah. But the
absolutely.
graphics, I'll give them credit for that
Oh,
because especially when you're on Endor,
yeah.
it
Beautiful game.
looks almost like real.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's gorgeous, gorgeous. Like I love playing on Hoth. Like some
Oh
of those
yeah,
Hoth levels when you're kind of running through Echo Base and just like, holy smokes, it's just crazy.
that was my favorite level in Jedi Knight.
Right.
You get to go to Hoth there. You can ride a
Okay.
tauntaun and fight a
Oh, right.
Walton.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was
That's cool stuff.
that's actually a fantastic game if you haven't played it. It's been released on the Nintendo Switch, I believe,
Okay. Yeah.
along
Yeah.
with Jedi Knight 2. It's
Yeah.
bundled.
Hmm. Yeah.
And
Most of the old Star Wars games, I did have most of those when those came out. It was more kind of later on towards the end of Lucasfilm days where I
yeah,
kind of stopped for a while.
yeah,
But
the Jedi Knights, Jedi Knight 2 and Jedi Academy.
yeah.
If you play those now, that you read a lot of the EU,
Right.
you will see just how incredible the continuity is in those
Okay.
games, because
Right.
you get to go to I think it's 13 different planets in Jedi Academy,
Oh wow.
and
Mm,
characters are mentioned that are in novels, and
right.
you get to go to Bakura, you get to go to
Hmm.
Chandrilla,
Right.
Biss actually.
Uh-huh. Oh, that's
So
very cool.
that was amazing, and you get to do a mission with Luke Skywalker too.
Okay.
He's there with
Interesting.
his lightsaber helping you fight and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting because I don't remember, because I did play that when it first came out, but all I remember was the training on Yavin.
Yeah,
So when
yeah,
you play, you're kind of there at the beginning and the first few levels where you're just kind of training and figuring out how to use your force powers and all of that.
yeah. And then the other guy cheats, and you can kind of
Exactly.
tell. You can tell that this guy's gonna fall to the dark side.
Yeah, this is gonna be the big bad guy at the end, isn't it?
Yeah,
Well, kind of get set up for that.
yeah. That was. Oh, and you get to go to Korriban at the end.
Oh, okay. Hmm. Yeah, I don't remember any of that. I'm pretty sure my son, I think he's got that too on his Steam account. He's had a bunch of them.
The most fun though is well, you can level up. You get 1 point per mission.
Right.
But if you max out the force choke, you can lift them up and you move them around.
Oh, right. Yes. Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can
Yeah.
just there's a mission where you're on a train,
Uh-huh.
so you can just lift them up and
Pick them up,
toss them.
throw them over
Yep,
the edge. Yeah.
yep.
Toss them over. Yeah.
A lot of stuff like that, and uh, throw stormtroopers into vents so
Right.
they get diced up, which is not very Jedi-like, but
No.
it's good
Yeah.
that the option is there, though.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I used to like when you'd be able to pick them up and just kind of bounce them off the walls and just the way they would all kind of fall down to the ground and get all twisted and
Yeah. And that game actually did lightsaber combat correctly, because in almost every game, the
Mhm.
lightsaber is reduced to a damage stick.
Right.
You
Yeah.
need to do 200 damage, then you kill him. But in that one, is if you hit a stormtrooper with the
He's gone.
lightsaber, he's dead.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, even in the arena when you would play against other people, I remember there was like a multiplayer version. I can't
Yeah.
remember if that was in Jedi Knight Outcast. I think that's when that came out.
Oh, both of them had it. You
But
could
did
play
it?
different modes, and
Okay. But if you got hit twice and you're done. Like,
yeah,
you have to like run away and heal yourself and
yeah, that was well, it's what it should be, isn't it?
absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah. Oh yeah. You shouldn't be
if you
taking
can,
multiple blows to with a lightsaber and okay, I'm at half health and then it's like no.
yeah,
It
if
should
if
cut
if
you in
you can
half.
if you can cut through doors, you can easily cut
Yep.
through a person, right?
Absolutely. Mhm. Now, I just started playing this game again because this was available on the PS4 a little while ago. Was Republic Commando?
Oh, I beat that one for the very first time last year.
Okay. Yeah. So I just started. So this is like again the original one that I had from
Oh, you had the
forever
big
ago.
box too.
Oh yeah, this was the fancy one.
Yeah.
And still has
Jealous.
the price tag from Walmart. $28.63 Canadian. So that was really cheap.
I have the original big box version of Dark Forces.
Oh, okay.
That's the only old Star Wars game I have in a proper box.
Right.
That's where they steal the Death Star plans.
That's right. Yeah,
It was
that was the first level, wasn't it?
Yep.
Right out of the gate.
Well, you steal a part of the Death Star plans because there were several. Because they say it in A New Hope, right? Several transmissions
Right.
were beamed
Yep.
aboard. So was a few others too.
Mhm.
But that was the first game I had on a CD-ROM.
Okay. Wow.
And it was the first. I think it was the first CD-ROM game Lucasfilm did. But I was reading up on it a bit, and it's the first shooter game that lets you use mines as a weapon, and the first one that lets you use a grenade, and the first one that has weapons that have alternate fire modes.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of a little bit historic.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of interesting when you look at all the 3D shooter games that are available now.
Yeah.
Like back then, that was still new, right?
Yeah, and
you had
back
Doom
then
that had come out, and then that's about it.
Back then, only the environment was 3D, really, because the rest was sprites.
Mm-hmm.
So there were no actual bullets in the game, but near the mid 90s, I think it was probably 97.
Right.
Quake came out.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That was the first shooter game that was actually true 3D, because the bullets were 3D models.
Okay.
In it, so that was a thing.
Right.
I pick up a lot of useless information.
Yeah, but it's interesting stuff, right? Because again, like when you think of it, like the stuff, it's not. I mean, it's older, but it's not crazy old. Like we're only talking like in the last 30 years, right? With all this technology and how it's just so ramped up.
Yeah,
And
it's and a lot of the
I
old
find it
games,
fascinating.
a lot of the old games are still, even if they look dated and stuff, I
Yeah.
can still play them because
Hmm.
it takes me like 20 minutes to kind of climatize myself to the old graphics and all. But after
Right.
that, I'm all in.
Yeah. Th- You can still have a lot of fun
Yeah,
right, playing these things. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Like that's why like I'd have to go and log into that my son's Steam account and see because again he got this package. I think he paid $50 for it.
yeah,
And it came with something like 30 Star Wars games, something crazy like that.
yeah. There's a lot of them.
Uh,
I was looking at the Star Wars games are EU, if they're
right.
story based.
Hmm.
But the I was looking at the numbers for the expanded universe
Okay.
during George Lucas. The novels alone
Hmm.
revenued over $3 billion.
That's crazy.
I can imagine the comics did probably better,
Sure. Yep.
and probably the video games too,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
because they did other Lucasfilm did other video games like the Monkey Island
Right.
games and stuff
Yep.
like that, and
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Their adventure based games were amazing. Like
oh
the
yeah,
Monkey Island, what was the other one? Grim Fandango,
yeah,
the Indiana Jones game, The
the
Fate
Fate
of
of
Atlantis.
Atlantis.
That was a great game.
Yeah, you could solve it in three different ways too, because you got a question after a certain amount of time if you wanted to team up with a lady or
Right.
go for a more puzzle ish solution or more action based.
Hmm.
So replayability.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I got Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis for Christmas once.
Okay.
Uh, Glorious box, looked like a movie poster almost.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I should have kept it because people are charging a lot for them now.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah, the big box games are people have started collecting them because it's gone. If you
Sure.
want some big box thing now, you have to get like a collector's edition thing, which is
Right.
pretty much the same as a standard edition 30 years ago, with
Hmm.
maps and manuals, what have you.
Right.
But yeah, I have been collecting a few of them because I have a few friends that kind of are really into that stuff. So sometimes they have duplicates and they sell them to me for cheap,
Okay.
or
Yeah.
they trade them for Norwegian chocolate.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That's a fair trade.
yeah. So I have a
You
friend
got
in
the good stuff over there, so
yeah, I have a friend in Canada that's gonna send me a few games now. It's one of them
Hmm.
is King's Quest 3,
Oh, wow.
which is
Man.
80s.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I can't remember. I think I played 1 or 2, but I didn't play all of them. But
Oh, I've
those
beaten
are great games.
7 of them, and there's 8.
They
I've
had
beaten
that many
7.
of them, eh? 8 of them?
Yeah, and here's
Wow.
the thing though: the King's Quest games started the adventure game genre back in the
Okay.
early 80s, and
Right.
it was done by a woman,
Oh,
Roberta Williams, who was
okay.
so good at her job.
Mhm.
She got her name on the boxes too. It said a Roberta Williams game as a
Hmm.
stamp of quality. So I don't know
Right.
what the today's gaming
Interesting.
journalists are smoking, but women have always been
Oh my
in
goodness.
gaming.
Absolutely. Oh, everyone who's been a part of geek culture for more than the last, 5 years
Yeah, I
or even
mean,
10 years, everyone knows all of this diversity and everything of that they want to say to bring in there and say how important it is. It's always been there.
yeah, especially in
It's
Sierra,
always been there.
which made the Quest games and all.
Yep.
Uh, they had Roberta Williams. They had Jane Jensen who did the Gabriel Knight games.
Yep.
Laurie Cole with the Clash for Glory stuff,
Hmm.
and a couple of others. I mean, there
Right.
was actually more women
Uh-huh.
making video games for that company than there were guys. The guys did Leisure Suit Larry,
Yes. Those were hilarious
marvelously
games.
those games have an unearned bad reputation because they're not that dirty. It's mostly
Well, and
just
this is
puns and innuendos.
well, and this was the thing, right? And we were all like, when those games came out. So I'm like a teenage boy,
Yeah,
you know, teenage boy with access to a computer for the first time in his life, and we get Leisure Suit Larry as a video game. We're all like, like we're all
yeah,
expecting it to be dirty, right? We're all expecting it to be like a Porky's movie,
yeah.
or something like that. It's
It
like,
it isn't.
no, no, it was, it had a lot of innuendo in it,
Yeah,
and
it has more in common with what's it called, 10 with Dudley Moore,
oh yes, yeah,
and he,
that's a
he
good,
even
yeah,
looks like him actually. So I'm
right,
wondering if there's inspiration going on there because he's
yeah, that's
wearing a
quite
leisure
possible.
suit too.
That's true, very true. Yeah, like Soul Assassin here in the chat saying, that Stig should start doing game recommendation vids on his channel.
Yeah,
Start
yeah. I've had
documenting all
people
the
tell me
history of
to.
this.
I've
Yeah.
had people tell me to play old games and record them, but
Okay.
um,
Yeah.
I don't know. They get R-rated pretty fast because
Oh
all of a
yes.
sudden some dirty pun will pop into my head and I'll just say it.
Ah, there you go. Adults need entertaining too.
Yeah,
Like it's
I know. I don't go full on dirty though, but it's just
yeah. Yeah.
if it pops in, it pops out.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, no, that's kind of amazing. There was at one point when the video games started requiring a more powerful computer than the computer that I actually owned.
Yeah.
Right, like that was the challenge. And my very first job, like, so I actually graduated from college with a diploma in computer programming. So for my first job, first career was like in computer programming for like 15 years. And I would literally go into the office on the weekend
Oh, that bites.
and play stuff like X-Wing versus TIE Fighter.
Oh, you know
Because I
what?
couldn't because I couldn't play it on my computer at home. It wasn't powerful enough.
I used to play that with a few friends in multiplayer because you had to hook the computers up to each
Yep.
other, and
Right.
everyone needed a joystick for that one too.
Yep.
And we were playing like a mission. We were on the same team. We were the rebels, and we were trying to deal with a star destroyer, I think.
Right.
And a friend of mine had been flying around the star destroyer, shooting at it forever because it took
Okay.
like 5,000 shots to blow it up.
Right.
And me and the others were dealing with the TIE fighters. And we noticed
Mm.
that the Star Destroyer, like 20 minutes later, had
Right.
it was down to 1 point something health.
Okay.
And a friend of mine just fired his last torpedo at it
Right.
and stole the kill from the guy
Oh,
who had been hammering at it
who
for
did all the work?
yeah, and he lost it.
Oh
He
yeah.
he unplugged the joystick and flung it around over his head like a flail
Okay.
and
Yeah.
smashed it into the table in front of the other guy.
Oh my
And I was
goodness.
like, yeah, I guess we're going to play something else for a while. Does anyone have
Seriously.
Duke Nukem or something?
Yeah,
You
something a
know?
little less violent.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Oh yeah. Oh, but I had to I would, sneak into my office, Saturday morning and have my pass to log into the building and you know, my boss found out. He goes, "You're not charging me overtime, are you?" It's like, "No, I would never do that." But I'm just I go, "If it's a problem, tell me and I won't do it anymore." He's like, "No, just don't charge me overtime." And
Yeah.
I'm like, "No, I would never do that."
What you should have gone was like, but I blew up the Death Star.
That's right. That's like I saved the galaxy here. That
At least
this
give me a medal.
yeah, the organization should at least compensate me a little bit for that. At least pay for my lunch.
Yeah. But those games were so much fun though, those X-Wing games.
Oh, they were amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the sheer immersion.
Yeah.
And you had to use the whole keyboard because it wasn't just made for a controller. You
Right.
actually
Oh
had
yeah.
to
Oh yeah. You have to program it and move your shields and
yeah,
to divert power to different parts of different systems, and it was
yeah.
brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
I think they used a lot of the West End game books
Oh,
for,
big time.
for that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, a lot of the ships that were unique that came out in West End games were all appeared in those things, and
Yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
I
Yeah.
I've seen interviews with quite a few of the expanded universe writers,
Okay.
and a few of them met with George Lucas as well. If it was important books that he
Right.
wanted input, like Plagueis, but
Right.
they would get sent the West End game books.
Okay.
It's like
Interesting.
these answer all the questions you might have about how hyperdrives work and all
Right.
that stuff.
Yeah.
They just get a stack of books.
Like, here you go. It's already documented for you.
Yeah, I mean, I would have that would have been payment enough for me getting all those books.
Oh my goodness. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or just sure I'll write a book. Just thanks for the other ones.
Exactly. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, that's
There's
what I've always kind of.
there might be new EU books being released, kind of like the Heart of the Jedi next year,
Okay. Right.
because there's 4 or 6 Han Solo books that were released only in Hungary,
Really.
and they
Okay.
were, I think they, I think they were licensed but then canceled. But
Okay.
but they did them anyway and sold them in Hungary,
Hmm.
and they're kind of like the Brian Daly books,
Right.
just one story per book, basically.
Okay.
So that's
Right.
something to keep an
Hmm.
eye out on.
Yeah. I'll have to watch out for that. That'd be cool to. It was cool to see when that. I mean, when the Heart of the Jedi came out, it was kind of cool to see the buzz that generated too.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean,
Just that there were so many people interested in seeing these things come out.
I wish a lot more YouTube channels would have kept that buzz going a bit,
Yeah.
because that thing had something. I mean, there was only one thing that was outselling the Heart of the Jedi for those weeks, and it was one of
Right.
the Thrawn books, the new ones.
Okay.
Other than that, it just blew everything out of the water. And
Right.
that happened when they released what was it, Marvel 108,
Okay.
which is a standalone issue. It's a continuation of the old Marvel comics from the
Oh,
80s.
really? Okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah. 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 That's the
Yeah,
comic book. Yeah. Yeah.
that one was the second highest seller that
Really.
year. Yeah,
Hmm.
when it came to Star Wars on paper.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I totally missed that one. I didn't even know it was coming out, and then by the time I heard of it, I, contacted my comic book shop, which is just down the road, and say, "Hey, can you get it?" And it's like, I can try, but probably not." I was like, "Ah, man."
It was good.
Yeah.
It stuck to the old comics fantastically. It even had pretty much the same artwork, so it looked
Okay.
like a comic from the 80s.
Okay. Because that's interesting because I hated the artwork at the end, like the last, what was the name? What was her name? Cynthia Martin, I think her name was, and I
Oh,
don't
the
even know
last
why.
Marvel comics.
Yes.
Pardon my English, they look like crap.
Oh, they were horrible. Like
The
I remember
last 10 or something.
like I still have the cover of of 107 in my mind. Like everyone was all kind of just standing there, and Luke's in some kind of like t-shirt, and there's this little rabbit kind of creature on it, and it's just like, oh my goodness, this art is horrible.
Oh yeah, Supernatural Encounters is a book they're going to release too. It's a Star Wars thing.
Okay, I
Um,
haven't heard of that at all.
I hadn't heard of it either, but I'm going to buy it on
Yeah.
sheer principle.
Yeah. Oh, you and me both. That's again, I just love the idea of it. It's like, yeah, if you can find these things that just pop up on Amazon, and this is what's crazy like about book publishing, this what you can do with book publishing now. Because a lot of these books are printed on demand,
Yeah,
right? Through Amazon. Like I didn't even check yet. But like here in the back of Heart of the Empire, so the way it was printed on demand is it tells you right on the very last page.
yeah, yeah.
So
I used to work for an RPG company, and
okay.
they did the same.
Yeah. Yeah. So this one was printed on April the 30th, 1921. So again,
Well,
you upload your EPUB file, and then
yeah,
you can just print them out until someone goes, "Hey, you're not allowed to do that." And they shut it down, but it's already gone out the door. Like it's all.
I saw someone had found a printing service that if you had the basically the ebook, you
Right.
could have them printed out in hardcover for you.
Oh wow. Okay.
And the
Yeah.
guy had done that with a few Star Wars books that were never released in hardcover.
Yep.
It
Yeah.
cost a bit though, but I think he had one of the X-wing books in hardcover. I
Really.
believe those were just released in paperback.
Okay. That's really cool. Yeah, I think you can do that through the Amazon printing as well. But like you said, you pay a lot more for it. And I
Yeah,
think again, curious how they do it because when you create your account and you load your book in, like you can specify like how much money you want to make as the author, right?
yeah,
But I don't, in order to avoid any trouble with Disney, I don't think they did that with this. I think they just put it on there and
yeah. It just
print
paid for the
away.
cost, and
Yeah,
if they earned something, it got donated to charity right away.
right. Yeah.
So it wasn't
It wasn't to try
they,
to rip them off and make a bunch of
no.
money off them. Yeah.
But apparently, someone had done that and used the printer to print new Heart of the Jedi books, claiming it was first editions and stuff.
Okay.
But I think they caught him though, because
Okay.
he
Hmm.
was swindling people.
Right. Yeah. Now, if the swindlers, they're the ones who ruin everybody's fun.
Yes, and on
Yeah.
eBay, it's those people that buy piles of stuff and
Oh
then sell
goodness.
them
Yeah.
later for $400, right? That has happened a lot with those comic omnibuses,
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah.
because they cost about $30 or something when they're new on
Okay.
Amazon, but sure as heck, 6 months later, people are selling them for 200
Right.
on eBay, which is crazy.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah. That's absolutely nuts. Yeah, I was actually just watching the news because we actually we have people that are doing that right now with the rapid COVID tests that our government gives out to people for free. People are grabbing them and then selling them online. And
Oh, so you can
so,
have like yeah, this guy is vaccinated or something.
well, if you have some symptoms and you're not feeling well, you can just test yourself at home
Oh,
without having to go to a clinic or anything like that. But so they give those away for free, and but people were selling them because they can't find them, and so there was a news thing where the government's like, "Oh, we're gonna come after you if you do that."
I saw a guy at the store with his arm was in a cast,
Okay.
and he knew the cashier lady, and I assume because she asked him, "What happened to you?"
Uh-huh.
And he just looked at her and said, "Do you think it's COVID?" And he held up the bag because he was like, "I think it is."
It could be. You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh, it's been a crazy couple of years, that's for sure.
I think what's happened is that it got too political,
Oh my, yeah.
and now they can't backtrack or turn around because it would make them lose face. I think that's what happened.
Quite possible. Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you
Yeah.
think about it, you have a what is it, 99% survival chance,
Yep.
and
Right.
the vaccine was supposed to
That was
guaranteed an increase, but how
mhm.
much can it increase though? 1%?
Exactly. Yeah.
There's only 1% left,
Right.
you know. So I don't know. It's weird. I'm not
Yeah.
against the vaccine or anything. It's just
Right.
it's weird, the whole thing.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, no, and we've tried to, again, just because I have a public role, and so I play nice and I talk, I work with all the three different levels of government that we have here, and I'm happy to do my part to help, but it's like just getting a little long for everybody.
Yeah, I can imagine it can be quite rough on priests and doctors, what have you,
Yeah. Oh
people
yeah.
who work
Well,
with people.
I think anyone in the healthcare, whether it's
Yeah.
physical healthcare in hospitals, whether it's emotional, mental health care, like, counselors, psychiatrists, clergy,
Yeah.
Things like that, or spiritual care. Like, it's just been, whew, it's
Yeah, and
crazy
it's the
because
whole situation. Well, especially if you're a priest or a psychiatrist or something,
Mhm.
you can probably see how it's messing with people's heads, the whole situation.
Oh my goodness, absolutely. Yeah. Well, and that was one of the things I did with my team, like, about a year ago. I said, "Okay, like, we have to, like, set up our system, the way we provide care. We have to set it up in such a way because I know this is gonna be long, and I know people are gonna hit the wall
Yeah,
emotionally, spiritually, physically, like, everything. And so what do we do when people start hitting the wall? And what are we gonna do when the people that we have in charge to care for people start hitting the wall?"
yeah, because they're feeling the growing pressure.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, it got to the point even on my schedule, if someone were to call me up and say, "Can I book an appointment?" It's like, "Yeah, I've got an availability in 3 or 4 weeks."
Yeah, even I
I was
have
like,
had to help friends and all that because
"Yeah,
they're not doing well, and
yeah.
some people are frightened too.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
what I've been telling people to do is basically the your mind is stuck in the real world, and the real world is really sucks right now.
Mhm.
So logically, take a break from it, a vacation. So
Yeah,
read fantasy books because that doesn't take place in our world,
exactly. Yeah,
you
that's
know.
great
And
advice. Yeah.
it actually has worked for a couple of people,
Mhm.
because they're
Yeah.
they're getting. It's like they get to open a valve or something and
Mhm. Right.
release
Yeah.
pressure in a way.
Well, absolutely. Turn off the news and
Oh,
just
don't watch
talk
the news
talk
anymore.
talk about something else.
The weird
Yeah.
thing is back when I grew up, my
Mhm.
parents used to tell me, "Hey, don't believe everything you see on TV."
Right.
Uh, Now it's me who have to tell them.
Right. Oh, yeah. I know, eh? That's interesting.
Yeah. Hi,
Yeah.
Teresa.
Yeah, thanks for popping by. Oh my goodness. Well, and this is the thing because being a, come move yeah, come move by me. Yeah. I can't remember where she is. No,
She's in the U.S.
yeah, I can't remember on what parts, but,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm not
so
sure if I'm allowed to tell. That's
there
the
we go.
thing.
If she
So
tells, she'll tell, so don't tell.
yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. No, that's the thing, like, my first career was in computers, like, I worked in the computer industry, like, at the height of the dot-com boom, like, that's what I
Yeah.
used to do, and it was like, "Man, don't believe nothing on the internet," like, that we knew that in the late '80s, early '90s.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that people are all the fake news and all this different stuff and
Well,
people posting articles and sharing articles like it's the gospel. Like, this is like the
yeah.
truest thing ever. I'm like, dude,
And they
stop
only read
sharing
the
that stuff.
headlines. They only
Yes.
read the headlines.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like this
Oh,
and that politician said something evil, and
oh
then
yeah.
they don't check what it was or check if it really
Exactly.
happened.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why we even do that in our little Star Wars circles too. Like, I just got to the point where it's like, I have to just stop reading all this stuff and stop subscribing to these YouTube channels because
Yeah,
it's just
I've had to
driving me
take breaks.
crazy.
I tried to just stick with Alora's Coffee Chat for Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know, um, for the most part, because that's just talking about the old comics.
Right.
Sometimes we'll do a if something big happens, we'll kind of
Mhm.
talk about that. But other than that, I don't talk about pop culture much on YouTube at all, except for Mara streams, which is kind of like a
Right.
little vent where
Yep.
it's called the
Yep.
Cringe Factory. We just take the
Uh-huh.
most cringiest stuff that week and believe me, sticking to 3 topics is difficult now. Really
Oh, for sure.
difficult,
Absolutely. Yeah.
especially now that the Wheel of Time is out. I mean, wow.
Oh, see, I haven't read that book series. One of my best friends since high school, like that's his book. Like that, he
Yeah,
loves that book, and he's been trying to get me to read it for ever since I was in whenever it came out. Um, but I've just heard so many poor things about that show. I just can't bring
yeah.
myself to firing it up. So
Well,
because I would like to read it eventually.
I see people, say that. Well, if you don't like it, don't watch it, which is fine,
Right.
absolutely fine.
Right.
But here's the thing: if they screw it up,
Hmm.
nobody's gonna adapt that for screen for another 20 years.
Sure. Right.
So the
Hmm.
chance came and went because someone wanted to completely change it somehow, right? But
Right.
if you haven't read the Wheel of Time, I'll tell you one thing: it's probably the closest a work has gotten to Tolkien
Okay.
in terms of lore and
Right. The
well,
world
that
building, you mean? Like,
yeah, or rather that one person has gotten to Tolkien because you could argue that some of the D&D worlds are very
mhm,
very fleshed
right.
out.
Hmm.
Actually,
Right.
Dragonlance, and maybe even more so the Forgotten Realms,
Hmm.
is probably more fleshed out than Star Wars was with the EU.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's over 200 novels there too.
Yeah, that's true. Yep. Yeah. Well, that's it. Well, you kind of mentioned earlier that you were just starting to collect the Dragonlance books. Like that did kind of pique a little bit of like, oh, that's an that's an interesting idea. Like after once I get the last 8 books that I need for my expanded universe collection, it's
Yeah,
like, oh, because
just
I really
speak
like those
speak
Dragonlance books.
speak to the wife, honey. Can I have a new wall?
That's right, exactly. I think I got
Yeah,
a space. I could move my stormtrooper over another 6 feet that way, and I could put another bookshelf right there.
yeah. Well, that Star Wars is probably like what is it, 160 novels roundabout?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Dragonlance probably like 80. I
Wow,
don't
that
know.
many. Yeah, because
There's a lot.
and I haven't read. I read the original 6, so I read those ones. I picked up a few of the little like the one-offs here and there. But again, I just kind of went through my I don't read anymore phase right after that. So then I just stopped. Um,
Yeah, there's and there's different writers too.
right. Yeah. And then I did pick up, I guess, the one that was kind of the sequel, so it had
Oh,
all of their kids that were in it.
I was
So I read
I was
those
wrong.
ones.
I was wrong. There's over 190 Dragonlance novels.
Really?
If
Wow.
Google is
That's
correct, yeah.
surprising. That's very surprising. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't I
Yeah.
didn't think it was that many.
Okay. And the one Dragonlance, there was a spin-off book where they took Lord Soth, the Death Knight guy there, and sent him over to
Yeah,
Ravenloft. I
he would fit
love
right
that
in.
book. Yeah, I love that book. That was a great book.
Actually, that's one of the last novels because I'm looking at it. It's called Ravenloft: The Terror of Lord Soth. It's 2 books.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Because the first one I think was
Yeah, they
called
have
Night of the
piles of
Black
young adult
Rose.
ones.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yes, you're right. Night of the Black Rose. That's book 1 in that series.
Yeah. So that was the one I read.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was written in 1990. No, I'm looking at this
1990.
wrong. It's from 1991 though.
Okay.
It's a crossover
Right.
book.
Yeah. It was. Yeah. Yeah. Because it crossed over into the Ravenloft book series. So there was a bunch of books that
Yeah,
came out. That was like that gothic horror branch of Dungeons and Dragons that had come out.
yeah, with Von Strahd.
That
That
right.
was
Yeah.
the
The vampire
yeah
guy. Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
I beat a Ravenloft video game earlier
And
this year. It's called
there was an SSI game based on that too.
two of them.
Yeah.
The first one was Strahd's something.
Okay.
That's the one I beat. It was
Mhm.
you create two characters and then you can recruit other characters, so you can have a
Right.
party of 4.
Okay.
And yeah, it was
That's very
a
cool.
lot of dungeon crawling.
Oh yes.
And if you
Yeah.
don't have a cleric, you're in trouble because poison doesn't go away in those old editions. You
Right.
know, if
Yeah.
you can't cure poison, you're dead.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's it. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I remember I
then-
played one of them. Was one of them called Curse of? I thought it was Curse of something, but I could be wrong.
There was one called I'll look it up.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a Curse of Strahd.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was, something like that. But again, that's
Oh.
digging deep into the gray cells to pull that memory out.
It's called the first one is called Strahd's Possession, which is a
Okay, I don't remember
stunningly
that.
glorious cover on it, actually, and
Mhm.
one called Stone Prophet.
Okay,
which has a
I don't
mummy
remember
on it.
either of those titles. Oh, the mummy.
Yeah, there's a mummy on it on the cover of the second one.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's the same generic one. The same art, they've used that on a number of different of the modules and the book as well.
Yeah, they did that with the Dragonlance games too.
Yeah, kind of used the same picture for a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah.
Man, that's some cool stuff. So my Christmas list just got really big.
Oh yeah, enormous.
That's where I kind of joke around with people. It's like when they look at my EU collection now, it's like this is my retirement plan. Like this is like, this is 40 years of reading here. So, I turned 50 this year. So I got reading until I'm 90. So I'm good.
Yeah, it's well,
just keep adding to it.
It doesn't take that long to read one of the EU paperbacks if it's like the ones that are 300 pages or whatever.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean, how many pages do you read in an hour, right? Probably 30?
30 to 40 if I'm focused.
Yeah.
If I'm not lying down and I'm sitting in a comfy chair, then yeah.
Yeah, so kind of like 10 hours per book.
Yeah. Oh, easy. Yeah.
So if you set yourself a reading goal for 1 or 2 hours per day.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Get through multiple books a week, right?
Yeah.
That way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of my goals for 2022. Is one of my New Year's resolutions is to put together a better reading plan, because I read a lot for work. Like I read a lot of books for work, and so I have to kind of balance it out. No, I also still want to read stuff for fun as well too. So
get a Goodreads account and set up a reading challenge. I do that every year.
Oh, okay. Well, you had mentioned that one of the messages you had sent me to get the Goodreads account. So I did set it up, but I haven't played with it much yet to see what it does. Because that does connect. It connects directly to my Amazon Kindle as well too, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably, yeah.
With it that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool stuff. Anyways, I'm just looking at the time here. I got to. I'll have to sign off there now.
Yeah.
But thanks. Great to chat with you and get caught up.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Always fun.
Yeah, we'll have to find some more times in the new year. Like I said, one of my goals too is to get a little bit more consistent with this, and yeah, maybe we'll come up with a little something that we can do together from time to time, regularly or something.
Yeah.
So do you have? Cool. And then we'll get through Christmas. We'll get through the new year, and then we'll see what 2022 brings everybody.
It's probably going to be just as silly.
Probably. But as long as we're all laughing and having a good time together, well, then let's try to keep it positive. I try anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, just read books and Read books and
Exactly.
shut up. That's the best
Exactly.
thing people can do
There's
now.
some good advice right there. Read a good
Yep.
book. Keep your mouth shut.
Yep.
The world will be a happier place. Awesome. Well, again, thanks for coming on and chatting with me and hanging out for a little bit. And
Oh, thank you for having me on. It was great fun.
yeah, it was cool. And thanks everyone in the chat for popping by. Again, I'm not one of these high-end YouTubers that highlights and acknowledges everyone, so I'm sorry. We'll get that sorted out one year.
I don't do that either. I just
Yeah,
I
come
don't even
on.
I don't even plug my channel. I just
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's what I found. Like my channel this year exploded. Like it just took off like crazy, but it's really through all the music stuff I do with my son.
oh
So we get a lot of viewership through that, like thousands and thousands of views. Like it's crazy.
I've been getting a lot of views for the because I uploaded the old Star Wars droids cartoon,
Oh, okay.
and
Interesting.
I got away with it. I just did it to see if I could get away with it, and
And they
yes,
didn't strike it.
yeah, and
Interesting,
I
eh?
kept getting messages on Twitter. Thank you so much for uploading this. I'm watching one episode before bed every night, and
Oh,
I'm like,
wow.
okay, thank you.
Yeah. Fascinating. It's crazy how it works with some of the things that get blocked and other things that just go for it. Cool. All right. Well, I'm going to click this big red button that says end broadcast. And thanks again.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to everyone.
Yeah. Merry Christmas to you too.